What's up? This is The One, and you're watching The Sport of Kings.
Wildcats.
What they call me, the one and only. I make sure your girl is never lonely.
It's the Sport of Kings. Let it not ring.
Football. Welcome to Season 3 of The Sport of Kings. I'm your host, the one and only Jodecideion. The Sport of Kings is my series that covers the National Football League for the entire season, from preseason all the way to the Super Bowl. The Sport of Kings delivers you weekly predictions of all the major games during the National Football League regular season. The Sport of Kings wants to be your sports center on YouTube, covering all the major news, football strategy, and player information. The Sport of Kings will cover the NFL by providing you with actual NFL highlights, delivering retrospective commentary with our segment called What Have We Learned, and then giving you the overall best players in our
Activated Beast Mode
Spotlight segment. So, if you love the National Football League like I do, please watch my series, The Sport of Kings.
Yeah, in this off-season of bonehead moves / preseason bonehead moves, on the off-season tip, I'm already going to have to give it to Mr. Brian. That's Brian, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. It's insane that, the problems he get into so far in his young career. It's a couple off the field situations that he had already, even sending it back to his college years. I know he's a tremendous talent. I know Dallas, that's one of the big boys over there that they want to stay healthy. He does big plays, but I'm just saying, one too many. Big D do things big time, and that also means the media. So when things blow up, things really blow up. So you have to watch out for that, and hopefully they put a lid on that dude, and hopefully he learned a lesson from the last thing he just did with his moms and punching her and all that crazy shit. And now, staying on the wide receiver tip with the bonehead is, Chad Johnson. I'm not even call you Ocho Cinco, even though I said it. Chad Johnson, you got released from the Patriots, or cut, whatever you want to prefer it. Went to Miami. You know what I'm saying? Sun, beach, and honey, You went and want to make extra money on that reality TV. Got a reality wife and all this crap. You know what I'm saying? All fine and dandy. You got on Hard Knocks. They got it right there on HBO. And what happened, dog? You just get into some shit with your reality wife. That's why that's to me, you putting yourself in that situation. You want to put yourself on TV with all this crazy stuff on TV. You know what I'm saying? You want to supposedly headbutt her, how the story is going, and then you get cut again in the same less than 6 month span. And on top of that, it was on Hard Knocks. Everybody got to see that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, dog, you ain't gonna get that many chances. I think you still got gas in the tank, but the problem is I'm nobody. I'm just a dude with a thought. You got no. I don't know if anybody's gonna give you that second chance like the way they did, or the third chance, the way they doing Randy Moss and T.O. I'm not saying he's not going to get signed again, because he's a wide receiver. I think he still got some gas. But right now, he ain't got no team, and he's sitting home right now, just like everybody else. Bonehead of the off-season / preseason already. Jesus.
Now join the S41 Picks and Predictions Show on the PNK Sports Network, already in progress. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to a new season of the S41 Picks and Prediction Show on the PNK Sports Network. I'm your host, the one and only Jodecideion, and my man to my right,
S4Y.
Welcome to the new NFL 2012-2013 season. Right now we're in preseason, so to get the series back in flow, to get football back in our minds, to get football back in the open, especially on this channel with this series we have, we want to discuss the events of the preseason, the first 2 weeks, and also take a look back at the offseason. So first, let's start off with my man S4Y. Congratulations, you called it. Come off of last year, the New York Football Giants are the Super Bowl champions. What you got to say about that, man?
Man, when I think about it, it's funny because every time they win, I'm always, last couple of times that they won, I was just happy, but I didn't expect it. Nowhere near I was expecting a championship last year. And once again, it's just it's not who's great during the season, it's who's hot at the end of the season.
Exactly.
And they proved it. Green Bay proved it the year before them. And when the Giants won the first one a couple of years ago, they did it also. They got hot. They was healthy. If you get in there hot and you healthy, I don't care who it is. Watch out.
And see, that's crazy about this new NFL. Back in the day, in the 90s, even the early 2000s, the team that was the best team throughout the whole year, they won it. You can just look at it. That team's hot. That team's good. They got the best players. They going to dominate. And then they go all the way to the playoffs, get the Super Bowl, and just wreck shop.
Yep.
The past 4 or 5 years, it's been seem like that where you can be just half-assed the whole season and then get hot at that right moment, and then the momentum and all that stuff just keep on, just stack on top of each other, and next thing you know, you running things, Yeah. But I will say this for the Giants though. Yeah, they got a momentum shift, going on. They got some help from the Cowboys being so pathetic as usual, things like that. The hype team not fulfilling their potential, and of course the Redskins just horrible altogether. But then didn't the Redskins beat the Giants like twice or something like that? So it's real weird. But the Giants. That offense and Eli, the man Eli, I believe in Eli, as my boy Deion Sanders says. My man said he was top 5. He proved that throughout the whole year. And when he came to the playoffs, my man was just he was Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? He was what Tom Brady supposed to be throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. I think he had I think everything worked in line. Like he said that statement. But at the same time, everything worked. If he didn't throw the ball that season the way he threw the ball, we probably would have had like 4 wins because we couldn't run. I've been watching the Giants for like 20 years, about 20 years, and I never seen this team not run the ball the way they couldn't last year. It was absolutely horrible.
Right.
So if it wasn't for him, honestly, there would be no playoffs or no nothing. That's what people give to the defense and everything, which it is, because it's a great defense. But if he don't score points in those late scoring drives throughout the game and even in the playoffs, you don't even get to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. And so we get to the Super Bowl and they just dominated. I mean, the first time they played the undefeated Patriots team, I was hoping the Giants would win, but I didn't think they were going to win. But that game, even we called it on the show last year when we predicted, we felt the Giants were going to win. They just feel like they were a better matchup for the Patriots, and they can just straight up dominate them. And they straight up, I mean, it was a pretty easy game, to be honest with you, until the very end when I guess they kind of let the Patriots come back a little bit. But overall,
if the Giants would have capitalized a couple of chances in the beginning, and I think it was one bad official call, if I remember right, that kind of like gave them space to breathe and rethink. Because I mean, the first play of the game, you hike the ball and you get a safety. I mean, that got to go crazy in Tom Brady's head. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And all the Patriots fans. So, yeah, it was still a closer game, but sometimes the score sometimes don't really tell the difference of what what it shows. And that was like something like that. That game basically was kind of more done with than what actually it showed. And even though the Patriots were still only a couple of plays away for making it really interesting or even turning it around. But that is if and buts. So
Exactly. So we got the Giants. They're the crowned Super Bowl champions. They're the best team currently. They're the team everybody trying to beat. We're going to the offseason, which was just, I wouldn't say wow, but it was very interesting. We got dudes who haven't played for a year coming back. We got guys on great teams going to horrible teams, and we even got guys on good teams going to even teams to make them even better. I mean, it was like this guy's just musical chairs all over. Take, for example, didn't the Giants lose a receiver?
Yeah, we lost Manningham to the 49ers.
Right, and they lost a running back. Oh, big old Jacobs.
And he went to the 49ers.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, Tiptoe himself, you know what I'm saying? He go to a team that they just lost to in the NFC Championship. And so, add that with the renewal of his career, Randy Moss going to the Giants. I mean, my bad, 49ers. Don't the 49ers seem, on paper, as one of those teams that you better watch out for?
I definitely do. They have a young defense and a great defense on top of that. So that right there relieves a lot of pressure from the offense. But it's putting a lot of pressure, I think, also on the quarterback. Because it's like now you have these weapons, and it's like you're going to have to throw to them sooner or later. And even if you're going to run in the box with Gore. The problem is, if I have a pretty good defense and I'm going against it, I'm still going to put the 9 or the 8 in the box and stop Gore. And I don't care what Randy Moss looks like. He got to show it, and Smith got to throw it to him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's there because you have to. You can't forget about they tight end Davis. He's a monster, so you can't really double team, Randy and leave him one-on-one, or double team Davis and leave Randy one-on-one. But I would do that until Randy Moss and Smith gets the connection going. If they don't get the connection going, let's see if Randy Moss can hold down his frustrations.
Right.
And then Manningham, he was the Giants' deep route, receiver. Get that play action going. Throw him. I mean, he made one of the biggest plays in the Super Bowl, was the over the head catch, 2 feet inbounds, right before he went out of bounds, before we got to score basically that go ahead touchdown. So he got skills. The only thing with him is his health. Usually he's up and down. But if they could capitalize on his health, see if Randy Moss, if he rejuvenate himself with the Gore running back and the tight end Davis, I mean, they have a weapon. But I think a lot of pressure's to the quarterback now, though.
Exactly. Now, one of the biggest news of all season has to go to Bounty Gate, what they called it. The Saints supposedly, paying guys on the side to hurt guys, and they got supposedly video footage of this and secret meetings and Illuminati and all this stuff going on. We got Gordell coming out suspending coaches for the whole season, firing other dudes, taking other guys, suspending players for whole years and months and games and all kind of crazy madness, man. What do you think about this, man? I
mean, honestly, when I first heard the story, I would have never thought it would have got the news that it did get. Honestly, I just really didn't believe it. I understand people could look at that and be like, that's messed up. But I thought that was going on forever in football. You know what I'm saying? I always thought, our intent is always to hurt the quarterback. Now hurt and injured is two different things. Two different things, folks. Hurt is I'm gonna keep hitting him until he hears my footsteps. He's scared. He throws that ball a little bit faster, or he quits. Hurt. You know what I'm saying? I mean, injured is basically you breaking something. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to break somebody's neck or hurt their back or whatever like that. But it is part of the game.
Right.
But I always thought that was part of football, especially now with quarterbacks. I know back then probably was a lot to do with running backs. Let's hurt this running back, man.
Right.
Because back then it was a Russian league. If you wasn't running the ball, you wasn't even a contender. Put it like that.
Exactly.
So, I didn't think it would be as big as it did, but it is. And the suspensions, wow. That's all I say. I mean, I was blown away when they were just peeling everybody off with all those suspensions. So
that's what I'm saying. And you're right about that. I mean, hurting guys is one thing, but this is the NFL. This is a sport. If you want to injure somebody, you can do that on a coin flip. You know what I'm saying? I mean, It's that easy to injure somebody. All you got to do is fall on somebody's ankle, fall on somebody's leg, so hit somebody in the knee. Hit somebody in the head right. They gone. They done. Their life is over with. Exactly. It's easy. So if these guys are really trying to hurt somebody, they could have done it anytime they wanted to, at any moment. And so, as we can tell, there was never anybody carted off. You know what I'm saying?
No.
They didn't get the gurney for anybody. I mean, even though they tried to say the whole Brett Favre thing, that was a bounty bowl thing. He didn't leave the game where he was all bloodied and everything like that and broken limbs. So
and the referee didn't throw flags either.
Exactly.
He released the ball, got popped. That's still perfect. Now, if he released the ball and you count one Mississippi and almost two and he gets hit, now we got a flag on our hands. And even a couple of years ago, they were still throwing the flags. But you got to understand, once Tom Brady got hurt a couple of years ago, that changed the landscape of quarterbacks in history.
Right.
I don't care what nobody say. And that play was 100% unintentional.
Right.
He was going down and he just wanted a sack. And even if he just fell on his toes and he's get it and just grab by his toes and just make him fall, he fell a little bit too early and hit him under his knee, and that send roars, of course, because at that time it was Brady and also Peyton Manning was ruling the NFL as quarterbacks,
right?
And you didn't want a whole season without those guys. You just had one without Peyton,
right?
You had one before without Brady. They don't really want that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what they poster boys.
Exactly. You said with the NFL now being a quarterback league, you want to have those quarterbacks who can sell those magazines and that popcorn, all that good stuff. You want to have them on TV every time you can. Going to quarterbacks, the biggest story last year, we even covered it. And I ain't gonna lie, for a while, I was cheering for him. I mean, I can't lie. Tim Tebow, Tebow. I was down. I can't lie. I felt his story was, I wouldn't say inspirational, but it was cool just to see this cat everybody hating on, and he came out and proved him wrong. Maybe not in overall skill, but in wins, what really matters. So now we get my man Tebow get shipped out. Now before we talk about where he went, this is the idea that this dude took this team with the help of the offense, running game, help of the defense, coaching staff, everybody as a team. They went from 1-4 to about what was it, 88, 97? 8-8, make it to the playoffs, upset, hands down, one of the favorites in the AFC last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played extremely well. I don't care if Ryan Clark wasn't there because of sickle cell the type thing, or the guys just didn't know. He threw that ball and they came to play for 48 minutes. They played, they won the game. As soon as Peyton Manning comes up to be free agency, my boy he's done. It's like, hey, yeah, I know what you did, but you're not him. Peace. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
It was easy to say when Tebow was doing his thing and John Elway kept biting his tongue, basically saying he's the man, he's my quarterback, but he was basically saying that with gasping for air. And once Peyton became a free agent, it was like, okay, maybe this is most likely my way out. Plus, people ain't gonna look at me as the bad guy. I'm getting a Hall of Famer here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm getting a Hall of Fame. I'm upgrading regardless. If I get 3 Hall of Fame years from Peyton Manning, which is, I understand this part. If you get 3 Hall of Fames, if you can, from Peyton Manning right now, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty much sure Tebow can't top that. But Tebow's he's a different being. Right. You know what I'm saying? He's a whole different, spectrum right there. His style and his heart is completely different because he got to make up for certain things that he can't do right now.
Right.
So I was not disappointed, but I was not surprised either. I was just like, man, like you could just really, hug Tebow 1 minute, and then, in a week, it was like kick that boy out, like it was no remorse, But at the same time, supposedly out there, they said when they was going to trade him, where he wanted to go out of those 2 places, and he chose the NY.
Right.
So if that's true and everything like that, so at least they gave him that.
Yeah, he had an option. He had an option. There's been quarterbacks in the past who've done just as well as Tebow, maybe even better, and those fools didn't get no shot. They were just done. Hey, we don't want you no more. You just get the hell out. We don't like you. Yeah. So he just got that respect. And so now we go back to up in your hood, your location, the NY. Tebow comes to the Big Apple. He comes to the big city. As what is this? The city that never sleeps or whatever. He comes there.
The city that never sleeps.
What's up?
I mean, hopefully he can live up to that because like I also said, the whole thing was crazy when he became a Jet. The whole media thing when he did the press conference and there was nobody there, and he was there by himself, and I'm like, yo, there's no president, no GM, no assistant coach, it's nothing.
Right.
So he was just there by himself, but he handled himself great. Like honestly, his interviews, you could like you see it once, you see them all the time. His interviews don't change from nobody. I don't care what the question is. He keeps it simple and boring and dry, which is I don't really care, but that's what he does. And now he's in a whole mess. He's a backup. Okay, he's a backup, but he's on a special team. He's on a special. There's no way in the world you could be a backup quarterback and then be on a special team. And I know they did a preseason, their first game. He was like a protector on a punt return. Come on. Let's not play games. The whole scenario was this: Tebowed Rex Ryan during the season on a Thursday night game, and your man had the Google eyes for Tebow. That was what happened. And when he became to be something that you could get traded for, he went and he did it. And he feels like, I think he believes Tebow got something inside of him that Sanchez don't. And it might be real. It might be true. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. But I think a lot of people, Sanchez, I call him Sanchez, as a franchise. People, I don't know, downplay him. I think he's a really good quarterback. I don't think he's great. Mm-hmm. But I think he could be better. His numbers last year dropped off a little bit or whatever. But the whole team did. The offensive line is horrible. Everything was down. So you know what I'm saying? He only could do so much. Even the defense wasn't the great Jets defense that we was accustomed for the last couple of years.
Right. So
there's only so much a quarterback could do, and your receivers, him and his number 1 receiver didn't even get along. When the season ended, Moss was just throwing him under the bus.
Right.
Holmes, he was just throwing him under the bus. Like, this is your quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully he's ready for that ride. So far for 2 weeks, it ain't looking too great in Jets minicamp so far.
Right. So I mean, it's been a lot of little things going on. I guess one of the other biggest things is the keeping it old school, and I call it that with a lot of the receivers coming back from the dead. You know what I'm saying? Randy Moss, who had a horrible last season. I mean, just he leave heaven, he get kicked out of heaven. You know, the Patriots. You know, go to the Vikings, which wasn't that bad. You know, first time he started his career there, he got a little homecoming type thing. That didn't work out, and then ended up with the Tennessee Titans, who had just no shot pretty much going on. You know,
Exactly.
and so he ended up pretty much just wasted the whole year, and he was supposedly done. Then you have my man T.O., who got hurt, who had a year or 2 years before that, had a great year, you know, but he got hurt, and also he's T.O., you know, one of the most hated men in the NFL. I can't say it's not, you know, all his fault, but it is part of his fault. He got a reputation, but he's done for a whole year. Now he's back, and then, you know, my man Chad Johnson, who made, like I said, your bonehead move already. He pretty much had a straight up just a free year last year up in the Patriots, catching like 5 balls all year. So he
I call that game. It's a free check.
That's what I'm saying. He got a free, definitely a free check. So we got these 3 older cats representing a younger era in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? The diva receivers, that you want to call them. They all back with new places, man. What do you think? How things gonna turn out? At least for the guys who currently own teams.
All right, to me, this is how I look at it. T.O., the Seattle Seahawks, they got a nice little thing going on, and I think down the road, I don't think this year, but I think they got something there. That defense is young, strong. It was in top 10 last year. People don't know, so that's big time right there. So if you can even improve maybe 1 or 2 spots, and you being 8th, you know, for defense of all year, that's tremendously right there. That will help out your offensive game. You know, they got a good running game. They signed as a quarterback. Did they sign the dude that was from Green Bay?
Yeah, that Flynn dude. Yeah,
Flynn. So if that game wasn't too much of a fluke, you know what I'm saying? I mean, throwing 500 yards is not really a fluke, but when you're on the Green Bay, they have a lot of weapons there. But if he could just continue something like that, throwing 250 yards, maybe 300 yards with the running game, I could see T.O. doing good, because they don't really have dominating receivers there. I know his work ethic is strong, so hopefully that rubs off. If he be more like, I'm going to play whatever I get a chance to play, and I'm going to tutor these dudes as best as they could. If he could take that approach, because honestly, this is his last shot. Right. I think he could, extend his career, believe it or not. And people will be like, man, but how can he be playing at 40 next year? I think it will be that type of thing. Because if he could, trust me, if he could play, he could play. You know what I'm saying? He could catch the ball, and he's strong. Until that changes, it don't matter.
Right.
And then as for Randy Moss, I mean, he's almost in the perfect scenario. If he got that speed up and down, as they supposedly saying, that play action with Davis is going to be bananas, because, hey, Gore going to keep running. And they got Jacob. They're going to keep running.
Right.
So those play actions is going to be crazy. Because I look at the plays like we talked about earlier when you look at the Giants and the 49ers in a championship game. Smith is not that great of a quarterback, but he's a general. You know what I'm saying? He managed the game. He threw 2 great passes in that whole game. And both those passes was touchdowns to Davis.
Right.
So if he can add another couple of good catches to Randy Moss, Davis, and Manningham, I mean, he could set up for probably the best season out of all the 3, because Chad don't have a team. Right. And that's I said to bring in a full circle, Chad should just sign with the Rams, and they just all be in the same division. Exactly.
And have one big old reality TV show, but with my 3 receivers or something. You know what I'm saying? Hook it up.
Exactly.
On VH1. All right, so man, now the big picture of the offseason, out of all the moves made, what team you think is going to be the up-and-coming team, and what team do you feel is going to be the team that's falling back?
Well, the up-and-coming team, I won't say I think they came up last year, and I think that's on the AFC, the Texans. Now, if their quarterback can stay healthy, because, I mean, they went with a 3rd string for like the last 4 games or so, and still won games and went to the playoffs and still did good. If they quarterback and they running back also can stay healthy, I think they are definitely up on the uprise, especially in that division. It's not the strongest in the world, so that whole AFC, you got about a good 5 teams that's real strong, and then you got a couple of teams that's maybe there, but we don't know yet. We have to watch the season, because you never know in the NFL. You could go from the top to the bottom in 1 year, And as same thing with the NFC, they loaded.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. The whole thing is just loaded, because you have the Giants, which I always say is very hard to repeat no matter what. But they're looking healthy so far. You have the Eagles. I think the Eagles will come out stronger than they did last year, especially because they've been a year together. And if Vic stays healthy is the biggest part. Then you have the Green Bay. I think is going to be serious. Detroit Lions. They all going. You have a ton of teams. 49ers. I'm kind of out the Saints because all these situations that they got to go through. But if the Saints wind up even making the playoffs, I'm telling you this right now. Just give Drew Brees the coaching and the quarterback job. Let him get the check because I'm like that's gonna be insane if he could pull a miracle off over there. And my surprise team on the NFC side though, I think they're gonna do really really good. Is definitely gonna be Carolina Panthers.
Right. I totally agree with you, man. The NFC is almost back to the old school 90s NFC when they were just dominating, winning like 14, 15 Super Bowls in a row, even though there's only like 3 teams that were actually competing for the Super Bowl. It just seems that packed, but this time you actually got it's like every conference is like almost 2 to 3 teams deep. Overall, I gotta say this guy I am from Texas, and I always give him a shout out on the video. The Cowboys, once again, it's like they've done things to be better, to where you can mention them maybe as a team that could be in the playoff hunt type situation. But at the same time, certain things happen. The whole Dez Bryant situation, guys, Miles Austin still hamstring issues. Tony Romo still he just don't believe. He just don't have this confidence glow when I look at him. I still feel like he's this guy who's going to give it up somehow. And so the Cowboys, they look improved, but you never know how much improved they are until they actually play the game. I agree with you too. The Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
It feels like Cam. It feels like Cam, man. He's about to make that. There's not gonna be no sophomore slump with that dude. That dude's about to go crazy. I mean, even more he did last year, and last year was just amazing. So I definitely feel you. Carolina could be that team to watch out for.
Yeah, to go with Carolina for a quick second, I would say I'm not looking much that he will be even better stat-wise, but it's going to be a lot of plays that he probably won't make the same mistake. And that's the only thing that really almost took him out of last year. He threw over 4,000 yards. He ran for over 700 yards. He had 15 rushing touchdowns. I think that will still stay about the same. If you dare him to run, he will run if he has no opening. But the belief of that team, if you don't believe that those players around him believe in this dude, trust me, Smith would have extended his contract if he think he wasn't the real deal.
Right.
He's towards the end of his career. He said, I'm going to take every last drop because their connection last year was amazing. And he never really had a superstar quarterback connected with him like that for his whole career.
Right.
The running back just re-signed like about a 5-year extension on top of the contract he has. So he basically a lifetime Panther because by the time that contract is over, he'll be done.
Right.
So these dudes absolutely believe in Cam. And on a wide receiver tip that we forgot also, the Chicago Bears.
Right, yeah.
With Jay Cutler, reunited with his old wide receiver buddy from Denver. Then he went to the Dolphins. Yeah, now back to him.
Brandon Marshall, yeah.
Brandon Marshall. I said, yo, you have to look out for that.
Yeah.
If Cutler stays healthy, that running back stay healthy, and that middle core of that defense, you have to watch out. You have to watch out because that division right there is insane. That's going to be one of the best divisions to look for. Green Bay, Detroit, Chicago. Those 3 teams right there is going to be exciting to watch play against anybody.
Right. All right, so going through the off season, we're going to now hit up a little bit on the NFL draft. And the NFL draft, if anything, it was the second coming, the second age of the quarterback. We haven't had one of these drafts since maybe, I guess, the draft with the Culpepper and McNabb and all those cats came out in one year. This is one of those years we got quarterbacks left and right, all of them rookies, all of them supposed to have potential to be the next big things, the next, great ones. But out of all of them, the 2 main guys were the first pick and second pick overall, the Heisman Trophy winner from here down in Texas, RG3, and then pretty much he didn't call the next best thing, the next big thing, Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Now going not going off of hype and not going off of mainly what they done so far what they did in college, going off of what you've seen in the preseason, the first 2 games, and knowing the franchise they're currently with. Who do you think is going to come out, at least overall, have the best rookie season out of the 2 quarterbacks?
Putting all that into one thing, I have to say Luck But before they even got drafted to the teams that they are drafted to, I was just always a bigger fan of RG3.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the system, how it's run with the Colts, is tremendous. I know, it had a falling with Peyton, but they're not gonna, it's all gonna be hugs and kisses now for his first 10 years or so. So, I believe that system is gonna work good. I think he's also NFL ready a little bit more than RG3. But what I like about RG3 is he's a quarterback that, and I'm going to say that he's a black quarterback that don't think run first.
Right.
He's actually going to sit in the pocket and make these throws. So almost like Cam, Newton, he does throw the ball, but he could run too. RG3, he prefer not to run. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like about it. He run if he have to. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully they use him right. If you want to use the runs, do some bootlegs and stuff like that. I just hope he have a good career and just suck for 2 games every year against the Giants. But because they're in that division. But besides that, I hope he have a great career and all that. But as of right now, if I have to pick one who's going to have a better start-off point, it got to be Luck.
Exactly, and I'm with you there again. Look at the situation they're in. Luck's in the Colts, RG3's in the Redskins. The Redskins in the NFC East. They got to play against twice the defending Super Bowl champions. They got to play that rivalry game against the Cowboys, which is always, is hard. They got to play the Eagles, who on paper look like the best team, the team with the most talent. So he got to go through all that, and he's a rookie, with his squad, who still, I couldn't tell you the name of their running back. The only receiver I can think of is, Santana Moss, you know what I'm saying?
He got, they got the receiver from the Colts.
Garcon, yeah.
I think that would be his number one probably, but he still got a lot to work to do.
Right, but overall, I couldn't tell you who their main options on offense is, so I can see him trying to do everything by himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that alone, and then I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna put this out there. I don't trust Mike Shanahan. He get this whole thing by being this so-called great coach and the coach who can change quarterback's career and everything. But last time I checked, he's only been successful when he had a Hall of Famer like John Elway. And John Elway was good before Shanahan showed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If anything, Shanahan is a running back guy because he can make guys like Terrell Davis and all those other cats, you know what I'm saying? He can make those guys into Clinton Portis and everything, He made all those guys into like these great running backs. So I don't know where people say this whole thing where he's a great quarterback coach. He's a running back coach, in my opinion. And I look at what happened recently with all the other quarterbacks been there, Campbell, McNabb, and everything. And part of that could have been with them just not being that good at the time. But I really don't trust that dude. That dude worries me. I can see RG3 career being stunted because of this dude just not being a good coach for him.
And I agree with you with that. I always used to say, I know Shanahan is a good coach, you know what I'm saying? But this great overall persona like Shanahan, I never brought into that. When you have a Hall of Fame great quarterback, everything is good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everything is good. So I don't really buy into that. When you have a Hall of Fame running back that's not in the Hall of Fame because his career got cut short with Davis and bringing those 2 championship rings at the end, it's like a lot of people was like that. I remember the Giants had a coach, Revis. He came from Denver because he coached John Elway. And he came to the Giants and they was expecting all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but you know what? He never had got an Eli.
Right.
We had bums. You know what I'm saying? Now, you could talk all you want to talk about Coughlin. Yeah, he was a good coach when he was, in the Jaguars and he got a good system and everything. But people were like, nah, he's a Hall of Fame coach because of who and why?
Right.
It's Eli. It's the quarterback that put him up there. Not like Tom Brady when he got injured and Belichick took that season with Castle and they still threw up by 11 wins or so.
Exactly.
They didn't get in the playoffs. He still showed listen, I got skills.
I'm saying.
You give me what I got, I work with skills. A lot of other coaches, they would have folded right there and they would have had the cushion and go, yeah, but I didn't have Tom Brady.
Right.
And I believe that's how he is. And he's getting extended off his coaching career because of the history that supposedly he has. So I think if this don't work out, he can't be staying there, especially if you have a bad relationship with RG3.
Exactly.
Because on top of that, like Stephen A. Smith like to say in Washington's Chocolate City, you can't have your head coach as a white coach have trouble with with 2 of your previous quarterbacks that was black, and now you have a new one coming in. It's gonna raise eyebrows.
I'm saying. So definitely. So let's go into the preseason. We got 2 games already happened. So 2 weeks of already happened in preseason overall. Man, who you feeling good about from what you've seen, and who you worried about team wise?
Well, so far I'm not trying to be a homer, but the Giants looking pretty okay on the 2 preseasons for like what they supposedly. I'm not a too big hype person on preseasons of good or bad.
Yeah, just preseason.
But health wise, we looking still good. Our front Nassau line is looking really good. Our corners we have a little issue with here and there. Offensive line's always a little problem, but we'll get all that together. So as a team that just won the Super Bowl, I'm looking at them also. Besides that, I'm a fan. Is that usually when you win the Super Bowl, win or lose, you have like a hangover type of thing going into the season. And so far in the playoffs, they're looking fresh. They looking, you see in their practices and they play, they're looking kind of fresh. So that's something to look forward to. And same thing with seeing Denver with Peyton Manning. Having that new location there. I know people looking at him like, oh, he missed a couple of passes and throw a couple of interceptions. It's preseason. If he's going to make his mistakes, trust me, he's going to make them in the preseason, not during the season. He's still looking pretty good. And teams that's not looking sharp, I will have to say early on is those Jets.
Right.
That offensive line is horrible. The second string line, horrible. Sanchez can't even throw a pass without even getting touched. Tebow couldn't even move without getting speared. So he came 3 for 3, Tebow in the second half. Boom, boom, boom. After that, they tightened up that whole line. Offensive line fell off. He just been trying to run. If he stood in the pocket, he got crushed. And that's 2 weeks of like no offense.
Right.
Now you can't have 0 offense during the preseason. You know what I'm saying? They had 3 points last week. That's insane. That means you're telling me when none of your units, special teams, everything, you can't even get in field goal range in preseason. That's not looking sharp.
Right. Yeah, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I watched several games, man, from different teams, trying to see certain guys, man. And I'm gonna tell you, it definitely is preseason because everybody's offense looks bad right now. I watched that Cowboys-Raiders game, man, and almost we went to straight sleep. The biggest thing that happened was, Witten getting his spleen broke or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because it was like 3-0 the whole game. No one did anything. And the Raiders, they had their issues with their offense, but they got that good running game with McFadden coming back, but yet Carson Palmer looked like Carson Palmer, last couple of years in Cincinnati. He just didn't seem like a good quarterback. And the Cowboys themselves, they're missing some of their key starters. Miles was out there and things and whatnot. The running game wasn't really going as strong as they wanted to. Felix Jones came into camp overweight and everything, basically because he's not even starting no more, so he don't care. Mm-hmm. And so I was looking at them like, man, these dudes ain't looking good. I want to. Back in the day, the great teams, who had the great offenses, just good overall. Even in preseason, that first team come in and that first 2 drives they have, whatever they come in, just flow. It's a nice rhythm to it. Even if they don't score, they're moving up and down the field. And I've seen that maybe a couple of times with maybe teams like the Saints who look real good. I can't even lie. Luck looked real good in his little things. Yeah. And it's like everything just seems real natural, a nice flow to it. The same thing with Cam Newton, he's looked real good. And the Saints, they looked real good with a Breeze when he got out there. And so if I had to say anything, I'm worried about, of course, the Cowboys because I'm here in Texas. I support the Cowboys, definitely. The Raiders to me look like the same old Raiders where they have a potential to be something better than what they are, but they still look the same. The St. Louis Rams, those poor bastards. Can we just take them out the league and bring in another team somewhere? Something. They just horrible. You know what I'm saying? What's the point of them even being in the NFL? And then I agree with you on the AFC side with all the hype with. Every time I turn on SportsCenter, I got to see live from Jets camp and Tebow this and Tebow running around with no shirt on and Tebow dating so-and-so and all this stuff. Every time I seen these cats on TV, because they've been on TV twice, like national TV twice, I've seen the Jets. And both times they look bad, really bad. It's like, I don't want Sanchez to get taken out because he put Tebow in. At the same time, it's like, I don't see no winning happening with that current lineup. No. So... yeah, the Jets definitely they better step up their game before the season starts in a couple of weeks.
And one more thought real quick on certain players that look sharp and certain teams that look sharper than others. If you, like you said Newton looks sharp.
Yeah.
Luck looks sharp. And there's certain players that look sharp in practice and in preseason. And I say those are the young guys.
Yeah.
Those are the young guys that are hungry and And Newton won to prove last year was no fluke. It was just the tip of the iceberg. Luck is trying to go, listen, I am the #1 draft pick.
Right.
Period. You know what I'm saying? And in certain teams, it's those the way practices are done from now and back then also was different. The way the 2 days was, how they try to limit everything now with the concussions and the injuries and the heat exhaustions during the preseason and all that stuff. So a lot of stuff like that have to there's something to do with it. And then veterans that've been around for a while, they just know how the preseason is. Like the Giants, that the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Patriots, they know when to go. This week 1 we getting our wheels turning. Week 2 we get in there. By week 3 we sharp. Then week 4 we ain't doing nothing. That's all for the draftees and rookies trying to make the team, and then they go right into their season, swinging for the fences and whatnot. So it also depends on the team, But like you said, Oakland, I mean, it's with such a huge fan base and how sorry they are, and they always have potential, usually. And it's like, man, I would like to see 1 year or 2 years like them back the way they was, just for a little while, just for their fans' sake.
Yeah, I'm saying,
because they support them no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I have to agree with you with the Oakland. They look a little sorry too, though. So
yeah. And it's like, it makes no sense because now you feel like they finally have a decent quarterback. At least a quarterback is as decent as Jay Schrader back in the day. You know what I'm saying? When they had Bo Marcus Allen, when they were actually winning. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. He's at least better than that fool. So why y'all still the same? Why y'all so sorry?
Exactly. I just get it. And different coaches, different players is if anybody want to hire a seasoned veteran coach and let him be, is that organization right there.
Right.
Don't even get a newbie. Get a seasoned veteran, you know what I'm saying? No nonsense type of dude, and that's it. Right. And I think that's what they need. Because I think once you get signed with the Raiders, it's like, okay, I'm good. I'm just coming to show up, play when I play, and that's it. Because that's what that organization kind of represents. Back in the days, they used to sign like the MVP of the Super Bowl if they could, like a corner or receiver, give them these outlandish type of money, and they just went over there and did nothing.
Right.
So they did that a lot of times, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully they just, turn their act around. They deserve it over there.
Exactly.
And as for quarterbacks, Arizona's always is in a mess too, because Cobb can't stay healthy, and they paid him all that money.
Yeah, I agree with you too. This year, we got a lot of teams who pick up these free agent quarterbacks, man. And you look at them right now, it's like, okay, what you paid for? You know what I'm saying? The Arizona picked up Cobb a couple years ago, and that dude always getting hurt, and the guy in the backup looked more impressive. And then up there in Seattle, they pick up that the big free agent prize, Flynn, from Green Bay, who had that one spectacular game when Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing, and they signed that dude up. And yet they're saying that rookie they drafted looking pretty good. So it's like, how you gonna be paying all these cats this money and not really know that they surely are gonna be the leader of your franchise and your main man.
Exactly.
Well, it's definitely interesting, man. Well, everybody, for the S41 Picks Prediction Show warm-up episode, I hope you enjoyed our look at the offseason and the current 2 games of the preseason. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our last preseason episode where we kind of look at the remaining 2 games, some of the current topics of NFL, and then even give you our picks for the division champions of each division in the NFL. Following that, we'll have our first season premiere of the Sports of Kings, followed with the S41 Picks Prediction Show, where we'll give you our Super Bowl picks. So, for the S41 Picks and Prediction Show, I'm your boy, Jodecideion, joined by
S4Y.
We'll see you next time. Peace.
Once again, thank you for watching The Sport of Kings. We'll see you next time. Take care.